This episode is brought to you by Progressive, a leader in boat insurance. Welcome aboard to Carefree Boating. Here, we don't worry about the what-ifs, because we explore with Progressive Boat Insurance for as little as $100 per year for a basic liability policy. Progressive also offers a variety of other coverages and can help you cover repair costs when you need it. And with discounts like multi-policy, safety courses, responsible driver, and more, your mind can really float free. Cruise on over to Progressive.com to get a quote today and see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Rate and discounts not available in all states or situations.
The Toxic Avengers joining the Thursday Murder Club, and we've been caught stealing the roses. I'm Van Connor.
And I'm Adam Ball, and this is Offscreen, your 7-day guide to everything movies.
Boom.
Hello and welcome back to another week of Offscreen. As you can probably allude to with Van's intro there, we've got loads of new movies to look at this week, including the Thursday Murder Club, Caught Stealing, The Roses, The Toxic Avenger in a moment. But as we do every single week, we're going to start with the box office top 10, and let's see how this is looking. So at number 10, Van, it is Eddington. Obviously, it's only been out for a week, so nearly 250 grand on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not terribly shocked by that. It's an Ari Aster movie, which means it's only going to appeal really to like horror people, and it's not a horror movie, so it's obviously not going to appeal to those people. At the same time, it's a really uninteresting plot to describe to someone. Now, this is a genuine thing. I happen to have a review awards screener for this film. So after I'd watched it for review, I then obviously watched it again on, I think it was Sunday or Monday. Just had it on at home. Faith wanted to watch it, and she made me turn it off after 40 minutes. She genuinely said, just pause this for me while I just sort the laundry. She said, okay. And we were 40 minutes in. You could see there was another 2 hours of the movie left. She went, wait, how long is this movie? She said, another 2 hours of this? And I agree with her. But to be fair, when I was in it, I was in it. You know what I mean? It was one of those, while it was on, I was in it, but it's only afterwards you still think like, what's the point of any of that? Why am I watching Ari Aster do a cover song version of a Coen Brothers movie? Having said that, Joaquin Phoenix is on his usual form, maybe playing a bit more of an unlikable character than usual, I suppose. And it's nice to see Pedro Pascal kind of play against type and get to be a bit of a scumbag. So...
moving on to number 9, Nobody 2. I really enjoyed Nobody. I've got to watch Nobody 2. I think I'll enjoy it. That's been there for 2 weeks. 1.1 million.
Yeah, so you know what that means? Do you know who showed up for it? Nobody. That's what.
or just 2.
Do you know the weirdest thing is I know people who have gone and seen it, like members of the public have gone and paid and seen the movie, and you see their sort of Instagram stories and things afterwards, and they all seem to have loved it. Everyone who did go and see it seems to have loved it. And obviously, you know me, when I saw it, I absolutely loved it. I think it's a really fun sequel. And I would argue a better action movie sequel than John Wick 2. But... the first one was not a huge smash, so it's not that much of a shocker. Like, it doesn't have what Scott Mendelsohn famously calls the Austin Powers effect, where a film is not necessarily popular, it doesn't do good business in cinemas, but it becomes a massive hit on home platforms. So that when they then make the sequel, everyone who was a fan of it on the home platforms goes to the cinema to see the sequel. And Austin Powers famously benefited from this. Like, Austin Powers 2 makes, 15 times what the first one made because everyone just discovered it on home platforms. There was the faint hope that might have happened with Nobody, but evidently it did not.
I think it's underrated, to be honest, the first one at least.
I think they're very underrated movies. I think they're great.
All right, number 8, Jurassic World Rebirth. That's on its 9th week now. And, I think... Yeah, exactly. It's still making, though. Nearly 35 mil.
Yawn. I mean, it's such a snooze fest. It's like, honestly, it does feel at times like what would happen if you asked AI to write a Jurassic World movie.
Won't be long.
I mean, it really feels like it because every character in it is just so paint by numbers, like ScarJo and this sort of painted on Ryan Reynolds facade they've given her, and Mahershala Ali, who's meant to be like his grieving father, but you in no way get that except for the fact that he tells you 3 or 4 times. And then my very favourite bit being David Cope, Oscar-winning screenwriter David Cope, and his version of writing a college-age stoner, which is just insane to me. Because remember, he wrote Jurassic Park, the first one, that was 1993. Right, so he has been in the business for 30 years, meaning he's at least, say, 55 to 60. That character in Jurassic World, the stoner character, very much tracked to me of, yeah, that's what a boomer thinks a stoner is like. Absolutely. Yeah, it doesn't bear any resemblance to reality, and it's all in the middle of this paint-by-numbers hodgepodge, typical mutant dino monster movie, because these things stopped being about dinosaurs a long time ago. I think if memory serves, there's only 2 actual dinosaurs in the movie. Oh no, total lie 3, the Dilophosaurus shows up, but everything else is like a mutant hybrid. It just doesn't interest.
That's at number 8 then. Number 7, The Naked Gun. That's been out for 4 weeks, 6.5 million. Not great amount of money, really.
Actually, it is.
For
an original comedy, not original comedy, but for a theatrically released comedy in 2025, for how much this thing cost to make. Because let's be honest, Naked Gun's not exactly a $150 million tentpole.
True.
Like this cost maybe like 75 to 90 in that range. I may well be wrong, but I would estimate it has a very mid-budget feel. It's not a terrifically big movie. It's, like presumably this might have been done even cheaper. You could have gotten away with doing this for like 15, 20 million. It's not a huge cost, this one. And also it's brought attention. Its marketing has been very good. There's been a lot of talk about comedies and the need for them in cinemas. Liam Neeson's had a moment to shine. It's been nice to see the brand back. The film itself is very funny as well. I mean, it gave us Pamela Anderson again for 5 more minutes, which is always nice. I think, and also, it got Seth MacFarlane and Akiva Schaffer like some time in the sun as well, like on a cinematic stage, which is a good thing. So all round win, I would say, for Naked Gun. I've got friends who've seen it like 3 and 4 times. Love it.
And it's a recognised brand, like you say, so I suppose that's going to pull a certain amount of people in straight away anyway. Yeah,
it was smart to do it as it's the son of.
Yeah.
I think that was the best thing they could do, because nobody's replacing Leslie Nielsen, you know what I mean?
Oh, 100%, absolutely. Number 6 is The Life of Chuck, 2 weeks, nearly £500,000.
I've seen this twice now. I preferred it the second time. I'm not going to lie. I really vibed with it hard the second time. Once you're aware of the structure and where things are going, it becomes a much more enriched experience. I very much like this, and I would recommend it to people who, for instance, like Curious Case Benjamin Button would be the one go-to. I say, if you're a Benjamin Button fan, I would check this out, definitely. It's got that heartwarming Stephen Kingian quality to it.
At number 4, The Bad Guys 2, 5 weeks it's been out, and that's made just over 10 million so far.
I liked it. Not seen it a second time yet. I mean, it's got Omar Jalili doing a great pastiche of an Egyptian bad guy at the very beginning of it. Yalla, Habibi, come here. I'm not done yelling at you. Which is just a fantastic inclusion in what I think is a really fun sequel that manages to top Despicable Me 2. For me, but I like this cast. I like Sam Rockwell, Mark Maron, and Awkwafina, etc. I think they're all a really good bunch, and I would like to see more of these. Although I kind of hate the ending of the second one. I'm not going to lie.
Right, we're in the top 3 now. Materialists at number 3. 3 weeks it's been out. 2.5, just over 2.5 million for that one.
And it's, I think, very good. And I can see why some people have taken against it, but I would argue that those people clearly have not been on the dating scene this decade, I would say, or certainly the past 10 years, because it is, I think, quite bold in how upfront it is about the materialistic side of social coupling. And I think the avenue that tries to go, maybe it leans a bit too hard into the schmaltz in a way that, for instance, Celine Song, the writer-director of this, her previous film, Past Lives, maybe didn't. That was a lot more naturalistic. This, I think, feels a bit more forceful. And to that level, like I've said, it's not as profound as Past Lives, but it is more engaging and entertaining. And I think that explanation there is that it is slightly more forced. It feels that you are watching a film rather than a bunch of people hanging out kind of thing. Like I say, that naturalism you had. I would say that kind of works for it.
And number 2, Freakier Friday. That's been released for 3 weeks now. That's made 5,800,000.
Yeah, again, public service announcement, if I've not covered this already. Women in your 30s, please stop taking toddlers to see Freakier Friday. Just because you want to see it, your toddler does not. Your toddler and your child under 8 years old, They don't want to see Freakier Friday just because you do, and you can't be bothered to get a babysitter. Stop ruining feature film experiences in cinemas for other people. No joke, I had this experience. It was an absolute nightmare. But I don't know why you take it's freakier. It's not. I would almost understand if it was a Herbie reboot, because at least there's a wacky character in it. This is adult humans interacting. You know what I mean? Like, what? But I think a very fun sequel. And it hits all the beats perfectly. I left the screening, both screenings actually, smiling ear to ear. Never thought I'd see the day when I say, Chad Michael Murray kind of stole that movie. But it is Jamie Lee Curtis's time. I'm a big fan.
And at number 1 this week, it is Weapons. It's been out for 3 weeks, and it's made, for 3 weeks, not bad, 8,600,000 quid.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of Weapons. I don't think it's as good as Barbarian. But, as I say, it's gone down really well with the horror community. It is an original, not based on anything, kind of horror movie. I think delivers a pretty interesting vision from Zach Cregger. He kind of stages it as if it's meant to be a true story, which I love as a sort of winking nod to, say, Blair Witch Project, for instance, like that kind of thing where we had people believing for 5 minutes that it was real. There's a feeling like that to Weapons, which makes no sense when you kind of get to where the story goes later on. You start to question the sanity of some adult human beings in the real world. But I really liked it. Julia Garner, Josh Brolin, Benedict Wong, Alden Ehrenreich, all very good in this. It is a film I keep meaning to get back and see again. And I think I probably will this weekend go and catch a screening of this. I think I might pop to the Odeon in Watford or something and actually catch like a late night screening of this. Be quite fun. Incidentally, there's a film not in the top 10. It's number 11. I'll be really quick. Together. The one we talked about last week with Dave Franco and Alison Brie. I went back and saw that a second time after a screening of Interstellar. They were showing Interstellar in the Odeon. I thought, I'll go and see that. Afterwards, I went to a 10:30 screening of Together. Cinema, completely dead. Completely empty. Just myself and Faith. Only 2 people in a 99-seat screen.
That's the best kind of movie experience.
That is the best way. That is the best way to watch a horror movie late at night, I tell you. Especially if you need to go to the bathroom halfway through, you just creep up the row behind and give a little boo. You know what I mean? Like that's all fun.
Brilliant. All right. Well, let's move straight on to our first new movie of the week, and that is Toxic Avenger. So this is I love the description, splatter horror. It's a great sounding word.
We have talked about splatter horror before, actually. In terms of cinematic history, particularly the horror genre, Splatterfest really comes from most of the 80s, but I think it really goes back to the 70s. And this is when the special effects guys were starting to really want to show off in films. The practical effects guys who were giving us things like Evil Dead, where heads were exploding and scanners and things like that. And Toxic Avenger was a really sensationalist pin-up movie of this era. It came from Troma Films, who were the label run by Lloyd Kaufman, mentor to the great James Gunn, obviously, and he was kind of the go-to name in this cheap, cheerful exploitation horror in which there was just a lot of slime and things blowing up. And the Toxic Avenger was, I say, really kind of his flagship kind of character. There were several sequels, kids animated show, things like that. It's now been readapted, remade, reimagined for the screen, written and directed by Macon Blair, who also has a supporting role acting in the film. And it stars Peter Dinklage from Game of Thrones. Is he Tyrion Lannister from Game of Thrones? I want to say the imp.
Oh, God. I've literally watched one episode.
Well, he is our new Toxie, as he names himself. He's a downtrodden janitor who discovers he's terminally ill, is killed and then brought to life through the mutated powers of toxic waste and becomes the Toxic Avenger, going out for revenge. But we've not got a clip of anything quite that fun. This is a clip of him being given his diagnosis.
There is a drug treatment available for this. It's very new and wildly expensive, but your insurance will probably cover it.
Oh, why didn't you tell me that first?
I should have.
Speak to an agent.
Got it. If you are a provider, press 1.
No, speak to an agent.
Okay. If you are a patient, press
Speak
2.
to an agent.
Got it. If you are a provider, press 1.
Speak to an agent.
Hi, Mr. Goose.
Hi.
Okay, I see you're on the Platinum plan with your BTH employee coverage.
That is me. Platinum.
Yes. Which excludes benefits covered under the Gold plan.
It's nice because I can feel the vibes that there's a decent bit of sort of light comedy throughout this as well, which is quite nice.
Yeah. There's quite a comedic desperation. It's largely played. They lean into the silliness of it. But to be fair, they are kind of playing it straight. as well, which and it works. I think it's a really good love letter to the original. It's not a remake that's in any way. I mean, obviously, it's academically a better film than the original. I'll give it that. Like Macon Blair has made a better movie than the original film was, but I would argue this is not going to be anywhere near as iconic as the original was. You know what I mean? The genie's out of the bottle on that one. We know what this kind of is. Peter Dinklage, though, very likable, very funny. He's surrounded with an incredible supporting cast, which includes an increasingly older Jacob Tremblay, which is getting weird. Like, the kid's got to be about 18, 19 by now, and I'm still seeing the little boy from Room. Room with Brie Larson. He stars alongside, for instance, Macon Blair as a supporting role. You've got Taylor Page in there. I think Taylor Page was the daughter in the recent Beverly Hills Cop sequel, I think. And you've got Kevin Bacon, the great Kevin Bacon, as the villain of this. It's a good time, but I would argue if you're going to see The Toxic Avenger, odds are you know what the original is. And I don't know, you'll find that you've got a better film, but something that's not in any way as memorable. That's the way I'll go with it. Well directed and well splatter fueled, but it's just not. It's like remaking Nightmare on Elm Street. You can make an academically better film, but you're still never making anything as iconic as that original Freddy. You know what I mean?
Still not going to be the same. Just not going to be the same. No, I get that. Well, if you do want to check out the Toxic Avenger, you can. It's in cinemas from today. We are going to move on next to the dark comedy, The Roses. We'll see what Van thought of that next. Stay there. Hello and welcome back to part 2 of this week's Off Screen. We're going to dive straight in to a brand new movie out in cinemas from today. It's a dark comedy and it is called The Roses. And actually, it has got Olivia Colman in. I'm a big fan of Olivia Colman.
Right. Are you familiar with, I think it was the 1989 film, The War of the Roses, with Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner? It also co-stars, is written by and directed by Danny DeVito. Are you aware of the film?
I am aware of the film, yes.
Right. This is a film that is so beloved in my family. It is a sacred text within my family, The War of the Roses. So you can imagine my immense surprise when a few months ago this trailer popped up on YouTube. I was like, wait, this plot seems very familiar. And we have an updated take on this. Now, this is not a remake of War of the Roses. This is an adaptation of the same novel as War of the Roses. So obviously the novel is called War of the Roses from 1981, was adapted by DeVito within that decade, and has now been adapted again separately several decades later, 40 years later, now starring Benedict Cumberbatch and Olivia Colman as the married couple, the Roses, whose relationship starts to deteriorate, gets to the point of divorce, and this new status quo leads them to become increasingly hostile towards one another, outwardly aggressive, and become outright murderous at times, but also forces them to try and find some semblance of love for one another in between the cracks of these attempts to simply remove one another from this mortal coil. In this case, this time around, he is an architect and she is a restaurateur. There is a new element to the story that's been introduced. Again, I'm not familiar with the original novel. I do want to go and read it now, having seen these two different versions of it. That's fascinating that these two things have come from the same text. I want to know. But there is a lot more of an element of he is hard done by. Life hands him a crappy deal. Like he has a run of bad luck and he's quite downtrodden and emasculated by this. So that is kind of what deteriorates him in the marriage. Whereas she just seems to be quite hostile. Have a listen. This is the pair of them at their divorce proceedings.
Maybe rethink this, guys. I mean, I know a lot has gone down, but you're great. And you're great together. I mean, sure, some days it feels horrible and you want to skin each other alive, but some days it doesn't, right? It's nice to have someone. My advice would be, try to focus on those days and always think of other people when you have sex. That's standard. You could make it.
Well, that was just lovely, Barry.
I mean, I love that sort of kind of dark, dry comedy. This is up my street.
Now, dry is the word here. Incidentally, Samberg, Andy Samberg, who you know I'm a huge fan of, is playing what would have been the DeVito role in the story in the 80, I'm going to have to check 89, I think, version. Now, obviously, cards on the table. I've preambled this by saying The War of the Roses is a movie that every single member of my immediate family can quote end to end. Like, we know it. To the extent where, and this is a genuine thing, when my parents actually divorced a few years ago, that movie got mentioned a lot. You know what I mean? It's the divorce comedy, The War of the Roses. Yeah. Now, in the way that the film is quite iconic and quite remembered, this will in no way have that. It's a lot like Toxic Avenger in that way. But at the same time, I can't say, like I did with Toxic Avenger, I can't say for this one, this is an inherently better made film. I don't think it's as better a film because I think doing it the dark-hearted 80s capitalist fairy tale way, I found more interesting. This is very much more for the time. It's been adapted for the screen this time around by Tony McNamara, who is, the Oscar-winning screenwriter behind The Favourite and Poor Things and the Apple TV show The Great with Elle Fanning. So, based on the three works that I have just named, you can tell Tony McNamara has a very specific type of dream project, which is, I want to do dark-hearted, really dry, say the C word a lot, regardless of whether or not it's historically accurate, and make it a period piece. And what he's done here is basically just drop the period piece elements. And that's it. I mean, even got Olivia Colman, who is in, The Favourite and things like that. So it's nothing new for Olivia Colman. And Olivia Colman is very much playing to her darker sensibilities, her nastier sensibilities, which she's still very funny doing. I didn't quite enjoy how the relationship was evolved in this, because I felt like it was quite one-sided. I felt like it was quite gender biased. And the fact that it's written by a man, directed by another man, Jay Roach, Austin Powers director, funnily enough, I just found that a bit odd and off. Again, I've not read the original novel, so I'm not sure if any of this comes from that, but it seemed here like the weight of blame in this, like, who is the bad one in the relationship, seems quite geared towards Olivia Colman. And I'm mystified that Olivia Colman, of all people, just given what we see of her in interviews and how sharp and astute a person she comes across as being, would run with that. Then again, it quite possibly could be, Tony McNamara has written another screenplay and they want me to be in it. Oh, fantastic, I love Tony, I'll do that. Maybe it's that. But outside of that, it really seems like you've got a husband who has a lot of bad luck and just has this awful wife.
Sounds like it.
That just seems like the story. Whereas in the 80s version, they were both scumbags. They were both as bad as each other. The other thing I'll say, and this is a black mark against the film for me, is pacing. If you've got the trailer, have you got the IMDb page up as you're talking to me, just out of interest?
I did have it up. Yeah. I've just closed it.
Did you have the autoplay trailer going on mute?
Yes.
Chance, as you do that. So you can tell from the pacing, the cut of that trailer, that they are leaning into this as a bit more of a slapstick, screwball divorce revenge kind of a movie. Like, you notice that they make, really big deal out of the bit where she throws crabs in the bath. For instance, he's in the bath and she just opens the door, flings live crabs in there, and he's shaving his verruca into her food, things like that. And that is the stuff that about half of the 80s version was about the one-upping and the revenge and all that stuff. It's basically the last 20 minutes here of an hour 45 minute long, is it an hour 45? Hour 45 directly, exactly, movie. And it feels like the divorce stuff only really comes into play in the last 20 minutes. That clip we just played has to be within the last 15 minutes of the film. It feels like too much of the movie is weighted towards exploring the relationship pre-divorce. And then the actual divorce stuff is really, it's not even the third act. It feels like about half of the third act. And I thought that was really awful for pacing. So much so that because you have been made to explore this relationship for so much of the runtime, when you get to the screwball divorce stuff, you're not really buying it as much. Because you don't really think, well, I don't believe that you want to kill each other. Because you've not, the way you've explored this relationship kind of precludes it. I don't believe for 1 second when she's taking out a gun and pointing at him and things like that, and he's destroying this and she's breaking it. And they're threatening to kill. I don't buy it because you have spent 3/4 of the runtime of this film exploring their relationship and their love story and all this. So I'm not as engaged by this. With the 80s version, which you can't resist comparing it to, you can't help but compare it to, with the 80s one, DeVito's sense of pacing, and don't get me wrong, tonally very different films, like night and day. Like this plays better to the Fleabag crowd, the original plays better to the Romancing the Stone crowd. I said the original, the first one played better to the Romancing the Stone crowd. Very, very different crowds, obviously, although I would still argue the timelessness of that 80s one basically means that you can just show it to anyone who likes Danny DeVito. It's like, hey, do you like a Danny DeVito movie? And you're like, yeah. Do you think Danny DeVito's just awesome in anything? Is it? Yeah. I've got a movie he made, his very first one, and it's incredible. And you can show anyone that and they love it. Everybody loves The War of the Roses. The Roses feels like a lot more of a sanctified Guardian Readers version of that. And it is the Tony McNamara of it all. There's no directorial stamp from Jay Roach. There is, however, an authorial kind of stamp very firmly put upon it by Tony McNamara. And that pacing, I have to feel, comes from him. It just feels that I think an incredibly stupid decision. Because like I say, that first version of making this movie, by simply just kind of, it wasn't even half. It feels like the divorce starts about a third of the way into the first version. Like, the bad luck element is literally a heart attack in the Michael Douglas case. And I'll be honest, the more I'm talking about, the more I really want to watch The War of the Roses again.
So do I.
And yeah, and that's a shame because it feels like you've wasted talent on this. The first version of this is, in my opinion, a 5-star movie. This is a 3.5. And as I say, it's not a remake. It's not a reimagining. It is an adaptation, just a different adaptation of the same text. It's a remix of the same text. And hats off to them for trying to do that. And I like the experiment. I would like to see it done with more movies. Like, if more movies that are based on actual literature, I would like to see. Could you imagine an alternate version of Jaws where they keep the mafia element in? And it has, and Chief Brody's cheating on his wife and things like that. Like, I would be interested. I'm sorry, no, it was Brody's wife would have cheated with Richard Dreyfuss if they'd done it properly. Yeah, like imagine like different versions of the same source text. I would be interested in that more than I would a straight remake of a movie. I have to give them points for that. Yeah, I think that's very fair.
Well, The Roses, if you want to check that out, probably watch War of the Roses first, from what Van said. But if you do want to check it out...
Or don't. You might ruin it for yourself if you do. I would say, if you've not seen it, watch The Roses first, actually. Then watch The War of the Roses. And also
save the best for last.
Yeah, and also just marveling how goddamn good a director Danny DeVito actually is.
Well, the Roses is out in cinemas from today. Okay, next then, we're going to look at the new movie Caught Stealing. But before that, we'll see what's on TV, movies on Freeview, that you can watch from the comfort of your own sofa this week. Next, say there. Hello and welcome back to Off Screen. We're going to look at the new movie Caught Stealing in a moment. But before that, we're going to check out some of the movies that are on Freeview this week. So you don't need to leave the comfort of your own home to watch these ones. All right, let's start on Friday tonight. It's 5-star at 11:25. And I haven't actually seen this one. Final Destination 5.
Do you know, there's some movie on the other side. I think there's maybe Atonement or something like that. And I was looking through the Freeview listings, and I just thought to myself, do you know what? Screw this. I'm a hoodie, not a cardigan. I ain't picking Atonement. I'm having Final Destination 5. And to be fair, you watched the recent one, didn't you? You watched Final Destination Bloodlines on digital. Like, was it about a month ago or something?
Yeah, and I thought that was all right, actually.
I think we watched it at the same time, didn't we? Because we both watched it at home on digital, and I think you started it maybe 20 minutes after me, and you were WhatsApping me during. And what a ride these movies are! Like even this fifth one, which is I think this was the second one they did in 3D. I think 4 and 5 are in 3D. This is the bridge one. This is the one with they have the bridge accident, which has some fantastic eye-gouging 3D effects. Obviously not going to be in the terrestrial broadcast, but really good fun. And this one has an interesting twist towards the end that is I think one of the great bait and switches of any movie in this century, and yet people do not give it the time of day because it's Final Destination 5. It's a cash-in, cheap and cheerful horror slasher sequel. Why bother? Fair, but you know what? I say I'm a fan.
5-star at 11:25 on Friday, or tonight if you're listening to this podcast today. It comes
Live,
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Saturday this week. What a movie! ITV2 at 9 o'clock. The Suicide Squads.
When you say what a movie, I just want to check and confirm before I berate you as a person. You do mean you mean the 2021 James Gunn written and directed sequel to Suicide Squad, right? Like,
do you mean no? I mean Suicide Squad.
Okay, are you talking about the Will Smith one or the Idris Elba one?
I'm talking about the Will Smith one.
No, I'm sorry. No, I'm going to berate you as a person now. So sit there while I talk. Garbage movie. It's like a canon film. It's awful. No, watch this. This is the sequel to that movie, but it's one of those sequels that they really pick and choose what to include. And it's same kind of premise, death row inmate / supervillains from the DC universe are basically given bombs in their heads and sent on government black ops missions, with the threat being they'll just, bomb them from the inside if they go off mission. This time around, your players are, and this is kind of where the DCU starts. What's currently the DC universe kind of starts with this. So you have Idris Elba as Bloodsport. You have John Cena as Peacemaker, who, of course, then goes on to have his own show that follows on from this and then appears in Superman briefly as well. And he's now also in a second season of Peacemaker. You've got characters who go over to Creature Commandos, the animated show, and so on and so forth. But this is the fun, nasty, violent, hilarious one. If you actually genuinely think for 1 second, Mr. Ball, that Suicide Squad is a good movie, and the next time I see you in person, the next time we're in the same room, the first thing I need to do now is just hold you, just cuddle you for five solid minutes whilst we get to the bottom of just who hurt you. I would say if you think for 1 second that that's a good movie, check this out, and honestly, this will be a film of the decade. Genuinely. Right. The difference between this and the first one is insane. Like, this is amazing. It's got Sylvester Stallone as King Shark. It's that good.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm pressing record on that bad boy.
There you go. So, 9 o'clock ITV2 Saturday night. It's great. It's a fantastic Saturday night beer and pizza movie. Like, if you just order a Chinese in or something like that, whack this on it. It is great. Like, genuinely, it was the best of the DCEU movies, and it's a fantastic start to the DCU movies, as we say now.
Well, Sunday, I like a good sort of chick flick every now and then, and I do enjoy Stardust, which is on ITV2, 6:25 on Sunday, and that's the one that Take That did the theme tune for.
Rule the World, yeah. Also,
That's
you consider Stardust a chick flick?
Well,
really, your
chick
poor
flick.
lady. She must live in such a toxically masculine household. Damn! Wow.
Well, what can I say?
But Albert don't know anything pink. Damn.
What I mean is, it's not got loads of blood and gore. It's not got loads of action.
Well, it's a
movie.
old school 80s style, like the movies we grew up with, like Princess Bride and Goonies type thing. It's a proper family friendly 80s style adventure film, live action adventure film. The weirdest thing about this is the unknown star of it is kind of known now as Daredevil. So the lead in this, who is this unknown from back in the day named Charlie Cox, is the guy who's now Daredevil for Marvel. And, he's like buff and kicking ass and doing his own stunts and things. Michelle Pfeiffer, Claire Danes, Ricky Gervais, Robert De Niro, a massive supporting cast in this. Mark Strong. You could literally go on for days just naming people who are in it. Most of the cast of Inside Number 9 are in this, for instance, in Psychoville. Really good fun. And it's got a screenplay by Jane Goldman, who is Paul Ross's sister-in-law. Jonathan Ross's wife,
wow.
who
Didn't know
was
that.
she was actually like one of this country's more prolific kind of working fantasy authors these days. But it's adapted from a novel by Neil Gaiman back when his name actually wasn't the worst thing you could say aloud.
So have you ever had to discuss this movie with Paul Ross? Because if so, that must have been a bit awkward.
I have several times, and I'm going to tonight because it's my pick for Free View on Sunday, obviously. So.
Amazing. Well, that's ITV2 6:25 on Sunday, and then on Monday, Film 4 at 9 o'clock. A Time to Kill. I'm pretty certain I haven't seen this one.
Have you not?
No.
Oh God! Right. Okay. So Monday night, either watch it or record it, and it's one of those movies that's been so parodied and so kind of spoofed and homage and things like that you'll be like, oh, that's where that comes from. So this is effectively it's a loose remake of To Kill a Mockingbird, in which you've got a black man on trial facing the death penalty for killing the white man that assaulted his daughter, and he has a white lawyer who in this case is played by Matthew McConaughey. The defendant is Samuel L. Jackson. Fantastic movie. The Klan are involved. This is based on a novel by John Grisham, but it itself just seems to be a straight adaptation of To Kill a Mockingbird. Very famously, this is the movie in which Samuel L. Jackson yells, "Yes, they deserve to die, and I hope they burn in hell." That movie.
Now I know.
Heard? Now you know. It's it's one of the great moments of 90s cinema. But Monday night, Film 4, 9 o'clock. Do watch it. It's a fantastic movie. It's really good, but it's got young, just about to break out into megastardom Sandra Bullock in there. You will be amazed that the woman has not aged in 30 years. She was a goddess then, like she is now.
Well, that's on Monday. If we move to Tuesday, we've got the Horror Channel at 10 to 11, Hard Target. Again, not one I've watched. Sounds like a porno.
Weird thing about this is it does actually, but also weirdly, it's not a horror movie; it's an action movie. But it is quite a nasty, kind of violent horror movie. I believe, this is John Woo's first English language film. Stars Jean-Claude Van Damme as the Louisiana, New Orleans drifter Chance Boudreaux. His name is. He's got the mullet. He's got the duster with the rolled up sleeves. He's got the tucked in plaid shirt with his painted on jeans, like full Swayze. He is the drifter who tries to help a young woman find her missing homeless father, who has been taken in as a contestant in, and you're a Squid Games guy, so I know you'll enjoy this, what is effective, because this whole movie is a loose adaptation of The Most Dangerous Game. You know, where rich people hunt homeless people? Like for sport?
Yes.
Yeah, and the dad has been a contestant in this. Boudreaux himself finds himself in the game, effectively, as a contestant, but they have not counted on the fact that Boudreaux is the most lethal killing machine that's ever lived. So, yeah. Well worth a watch. Lance Henriksen is the villain. He's great in this. Apparently caught fire at one point during a scene and just ran with it. And the take that they use in the movie is him actually catching fire. So, worth a watch.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. On Wednesday, Beast is on Film 4 at 9 o'clock. Again, not one I've seen.
This is Idris Elba versus Lions. This is such trash. This is, it's like Wednesday. It's always going to be like a crap movie on a Wednesday. This is just dumb fun, like a crap Idris Elba on safari fighting lions to protect his daughters kind of a movie. Does what it says on the tin. You know what I mean? What more can you want?
That's on Film 4, 9 o'clock on Wednesday. And finally, on Thursday, again, sounds like a porno, The Lady in the Van, BBC One at 20 to midnight.
Doesn't it sound like that's what Lily Phillips would call her next project? Her next performance piece would be Lily Phillips, The Lady in the Van. Something like that. I can absolutely see it. Subscribe now on OnlyFans. I can absolutely see that. This is an adaptation of the Alan Bennett play, starring Maggie Smith as the titular lady in the van. She's this curmudgeonly lady who lives in a van on this guy's driveway and drives him mad. A friend of mine, like a lifelong friend of mine, is made. I think it might have been his. No, it wasn't his big screen debut, but he actually appears on screen in this as a pallbearer at the end of the movie, and literally is credited on the credits of the movie as smiling pallbearer. And this is how I discovered that he was in films. True story. That's an actual thing. Came out the screening room at Sony, phoned this guy. Well, why the hell are you in a film I just watched? Weird moment. I actually really like it. 20 to 12 on Thursday night on BBC One. Worth a watch. It's got some great Maggie Smith kind of japery. No one does a put down like Maggie Smith.
Oh, hell yeah. Totally agree with that.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Right, so we have got 2 new movies to talk about. We're going to look at the Thursday Murder Club in a moment, but right now, Caught Stealing. So, again, obviously, you've seen it, I haven't. This is another comedy, isn't it?
It sort of is. We haven't got much time, so I'll be quick on this anyway, and I don't think there's much to say, to be honest. A new movie from Darren Aronofsky, who is very much a vision kind of director. Like, I have a vision, and he makes weird and wacky movies, like Requiem for a Dream or The Fountain or Black Swan, things like that. Very singular vision type movies. This is not one of those, and it kind of plays like 2006's Running Scared, of all things, with the late great Paul Walker. It stars Austin Butler, Elvis. Austin Butler.
Oh,
Bike Riders
yeah.
Elvis, Austin Butler. So automatically my mum's giving this 5 stars on Letterboxd without seeing it. Kind of a deal. She just loves that boy. He's an ex-baseball player who's had an injury. He's down on his luck. He's working as a bartender in New York. He's got a great girlfriend. His roommate from across the hall is this British punk rocker played by Matt Smith, who's got to go to London suddenly because his father has died. Can you look after the cat for me? So, of course, he takes the cat in, looks after the cat, and 5 minutes later, goons start showing up looking for Matt Smith. Like, where's Matt Smith? Beat Austin Butler up, because he's got a Heathrow. I don't know. That's all I know. And he finds himself embroiled in this caper where everyone's out to get him. Who's screwing who over? Very Elmore Leonard, trying to ascertain what it is that Matt Smith has that these guys want, etc. I've got a clip for you. Have a listen. This is a trailer sizzle from Caught Stealing.
Oi, is that the best you can do? I've got to fly back to London. I need you to take care of my cat.
I like cats.
I like dogs.
Hey, is Russ home?
Who are you? What's the big man?
Who did this to you?
La pistola. Either I get what I want or my pistol talk for me.
These guys you messed up with, they're scary monsters.
I don't know anything.
Did it get you chuckling throughout, or was there not enough comedy in it?
I mean, no, there's not enough comedy in it, and I sense that there is an attempt here, and I can sort of see why Aronofsky would take this on, because I do feel like, and obviously I have no evidence whatsoever that this happened. This is just what I like to think happened. A couple of years ago, Aronofsky saw Uncut Gems by the Safdie brothers, and he thought, "Me too," and he had a crack, and that's what he thinks this is. It ain't. It's not at all. It's not got that frenzied desperation about it. And also because it stops, as you say, to try and be funny and to try and be more broadly comedic and wacky, it just falls flat. It doesn't commit well enough to that bit. The screenplay doesn't quite work. The only thing about it that really comes together is Matt Smith as the British rocker that you can hear there. He's effortlessly the best thing about the movie. And I thought there wasn't enough of him. There's too little of him in the film. The movie as well, and I noticed this, it owes a debt to Scorsese's After Hours, which is a movie that hadn't really been thought about very much until Ted Lasso did an homage to it a couple of years ago. Ted Lasso did a thing called Beard After Hours, an episode called Beard After Hours, which is a brilliant homage to the Scorsese movie. This owes a debt to that. It seems to again want to be that at the same time. So much so that they've actually got the star of After Hours, Griffin Dunn, to appear in this, because he's now 40, 50 years older. He's kind of in this as the older guy now. Not much of a star vehicle for Austin Butler, if I'm honest. I didn't think anyone really came off well in this because the movie just doesn't work. It feels very disconnected, very disjointed. There's the semblance of where you can sort of see what tone they're going for, hence the Uncut Gems, After Hours type connection. But really what it feels like that period in about 2006 where Smoking Aces hit big and we suddenly got a wave of imitators. We suddenly got things like, it wanted to be Smoking Aces and it all just didn't work and it all felt very hollow. That's the feeling I had with this. And there's no real directorial stamp on there from Aronofsky either. And for a director who is as vision-driven as Aronofsky, I found that really underwhelming.
Well, if you want to check out Caught Stealing, you can, because that's in cinemas from today. We've got one movie left to look at. We'll see what Van thought of the Thursday Murder Club next. Hello and welcome back to one last ride on this week's Off Screen then. I'd probably say this is the movie that I've been intrigued the most about this week. So we're going to see what Van thought to The Thursday Murder Club, which is out in cinemas from today.
Oh, I mean,
where do you want to start?
What I thought of it, I bloody loved it, is the short version of this. Weird story about this, actually. I ran into Richard Osman. Like, I think it was the day the trailer dropped. I'd just seen it and I just ran into him in Soho and just got chatting to him for 5 minutes. We were both just loitering. I think we were both waiting for screenings or something. Nice guy, yeah. I've not read the novel, but so many people I know have. It's one of those things where it's just a beloved text. It's one of those novels of the past few years that has really caught on in the mainstream. Like, go to any charity shop in Britain. You know what I mean? Go to any charity shop in Britain. I guarantee you, there's 3 copies of the Thursday Murder Club in the book section. There will be.
Right,
there will be, because everybody has owned this book at some point. I don't know if I have a copy somewhere. So, obviously, the original novel is written by Richard Osman, what's his TV show that he's from? Richard Osman.
Oh, is it Brain?
Pointless. Is it Pointless?
We all watch it.
No, not Pointless. Oh,
no, it's not Pointless.
I don't know. Anyway, I don't watch telly. You know what I'm like. Yeah. So this is directed for the screen by Home Alone and Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone director, Christopher Columbus. You know, formerly of the John Hughes canon, who was for a time the director of National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation until he quit because he hated Chevy Chase, and then went and directed Home Alone and Uncle Buck and things like that. He's directed this. It's got a screenplay adapted for the screen, co-written by Katie Brand as well, comedian Katie Brand. And I would argue that actually getting a comedian to adapt that book seems kind of unnecessary, because from the bits I've read of it does actually seem to be quite funny, and obviously everything seems to be kept in there. This is the story of 4 pensioners who live in a stately retirement home called, is it Cooper's Place or something like that, I think it's called. Stately home, retirement home. Everybody who lives there lives in these immense palatial penthouse apartments, but they're all basically retired rich, kind of a deal. And 4 of the residents get together every Thursday afternoon in the jigsaw room and form the Thursday Murder Club, in which they delve into cold cases from the police that they have managed to get a hold of, and they effectively theorize and try to solve these murders, only to then find themselves called into the present day rather than a cold case that may have taken place in the 30s, the 40s. They find themselves dragged kicking and screaming into the present day, however, when there is a real murder of a man whose business connections are basically have been keeping their retirement home safe from an unscrupulous developer played by David Tennant. So I've got a clip for you. Do enjoy the delights of the Thursday Murder Club.
There she is. Joyce, are you a nurse? Bang on target. I'm Elizabeth. Would you take a look at that for me, please?
Dear God.
'Tis a lot of blood. Would you care to join us to discuss things further? Who is us? I'm sorry, how rude of me. We're the Thursday Murder Club. We investigate cold cases. It's a club about murder. Does sound a bit bonkers.
In breaking news,
There's been a murder. An actual murder.
The victim appears to have been bludgeoned to death.
Now we've got a real case to solve, isn't it wonderful? Obviously, R.I.P. and all that.
I want to see it even more now. It's absolutely the kind of... It's a Sunday afternoon movie after a roast dinner.
It's exactly that. Right. So first of all, the tone of that, because that's obviously like a sizzle clip from a trailer, right? But that tone, that jaunty dum 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 dum, kind of that you can hear it going through, that sort of bit of whimsy to it, and the tone of the humor and everything you can hear in that clip, that is absolutely the movie. Like, through and through. I put this on. Netflix were good enough to send me the screener, put this on. And yes, you can imagine the second the screener turned up in my inbox, Faith's big thing was, okay, so Saturday morning, first thing, before we do anything, we are watching the Thursday Murder Club. Random. Yeah, okay, sure. And it was like, literally ordering breakfast and we'd deliver like when the Thursday Murder Club on. And she's a big fan of the book. She loved the movie. Me, I didn't know the book. I knew of it from what people had told me, but I've not read it. Within about 2 minutes, I was sold. I was down. I was like, yes, okay, I like the cadence of this, the rhythm. Because it feels like watching free flow jazz at times. It has that wonderful rhythm that doesn't let up. And the cast they've got for it are the reason why. The script is great. The story is really compelling. The mystery is interesting. But it's the cast that make this work. Now, there is a caveat to this. It's a big caveat. So, your cast of 4, effectively, are you've got Helen Mirren as Elizabeth, who's sort of a retired spy, kind of shrouded in mystery, and they get a lot of comedy out of that. And also, Helen Mirren is just firing on all cylinders here. There's no way that the novel wasn't written with Helen Mirren in mind as this role. Like, it is pitch perfect Helen Mirren to a T. You've then got Pierce Brosnan as Ron. He's the sort of trade union legend type who's meant to be a bit of a Cockney lad. I'll get to that. You've got Ben Kingsley as Ibrahim. Really good fun. He's basically playing Trevor Slattery from Iron Man 3. He's basically playing his... You know, when they reveal the Mandarin is an actual bumbling actor? He's playing that, but as a psychotherapist. And then you've got Celia Imrie, you could hear in the clip, is Joyce, the nurse, who is the newcomer / POV character. Now, of the 4, it falls apart with Pierce Brosnan. He is very fun and very charming in this because he's Pierce Brosnan. He is just showing up, and like the rest of them, he's like, do you know what? I've got a stock type that everyone loves me playing. I will do that. And fine, it worked. Except for the fact they keep bringing up that his character is meant to be this Cockney. It's like, yeah, but wait, what? Is that what Pierce Brosnan's doing? Because he's doing a sort of weird attempt at a Cockney accent once every 10 minutes or so. He just does 30 seconds as a Cockney, just for a bit, just for a lark. There's a great moment in which he just stops mid-sentence and goes, plonker. And it's very obvious that Pierce Brosnan has never said that word aloud before. Like plonker. He's never said plonker aloud before. And if you told me, honestly, if it came up in a making of or something, that genuinely was the first take, they used it, and that's the very first time Pierce Brosnan's ever said the word plonker, I would believe you. But again, Pierce Brosnan is so charming as just being Pierce Brosnan. You know, in his new white-haired, his new silver-haired era that he's thoroughly and deservedly embracing and is doing great with. Please, can we have Old Man Bond as a movie? I would watch the crap out of that. He's great. You enjoy it, but it just doesn't work for the character that they've written. And that's the only negative thing I can say about a movie that lasts 1 hour, 58 minutes, is in cinemas now on limited release. I think you can see it in some, there's maybe one art house cinema, one cinema chain per town that is showing it in cinemas already. But it is on Netflix as of yesterday. So you can take this on the big screen or you can watch this at home. My advice, actually, is go and see this on the big screen. Because this plays like a mashup of Knives Out and Best Exotic Marigold Hotel is the best way to say it on this one. And I remember how much fun both of the Knives Out movies were on the big screen. I saw them both for the first time on the big screen. And it's a nice experience. It's a nice sort of trip down memory lane to get to enjoy an Agatha Christie style mystery on a screen with an all-star cast. And there is an all-star cast. The supporting roster in here are quite impressive. I mentioned David Tennant as the sort of unscrupulous developer. You've also got Daniel Mays is the bumbling copper that they're sort of working around, the sort of bumbling middle-aged, pot-bellied kind of copper. Naomi Aki is the junior recruit, so working under him. Jonathan Pryce as Helen Mirren's dementia-stricken husband, who just in one scene will absolutely destroy you. Like a wonderfully judged performance. Like Jonathan Pryce having an absolute ball here because he gets to be quite snide and quite clever, but at the same time gets to do, the dementia scenes that every actor knows they're going to get to a certain age and I'm going to nail that when it's my time kind of a thing. Having a ball here. Tom Ellis, Lucifer, is in there. And this just tells you, by the way, how weirdly miscast Pierce Brosnan is. Lucifer is meant to be Pierce Brosnan's son. Right? Now, I can sort of get it physically. I can sort of maybe buy it physically. But Tom Ellis playing a Cockney and Pierce Brosnan playing a Cockney are two very, very different things, and they're meant to be father and son. Just all I'm saying. I know I keep dwelling on this, but yeah, very, very different thing. And like I say, Jeff Bell, Paul Freeman, Ingrid Oliver, who's Richard Osman's wife, is in there as well, and Richard E. Grant, who gets a wonderful moment in there as well. Has to be said. Really plays a really great, slimy, kind of threatening character. I can't recommend this heartily enough. I laughed quite a lot. I was moved by it. Like, say, Jonathan Pryce just absolutely reduced me to rubble at one point. And I, more than anything, I think I enjoyed Helen Mirren in this. I just enjoyed Helen Mirren just zipping everywhere, owning it. Absolutely owning it. I say, it's just under 2 hours. As you point out, it's a perfect Sunday afternoon. I've had your Sunday roast. Fire Netflix up, crack this on. And oh my God, what a blast. But if you can get to a cinema as well, I would heartily recommend that.
And if you can ever afford to go to the cinema to watch any of the movies that we talk about, do it, because we need to keep our cinemas going.
Let's keep them alive,
We'll go for good. Let's keep them alive. All right, well, let's look at what's coming up next week before we vanish on you. Signs
Right, I'll
of
be really
Life.
honest. This is the only one coming out next week that I know nothing about. And the publicist has been kind of badgering me about reviewing it. I'm like, okay, I have to do this one, so I will. I will look into that. I'll have more to report that next week. We've also got, I think it's Ethan Cohen's new movie, Honey Don't. Part of his lesbian trilogy, I think. Lesbian crime trilogy, I think he's calling it, or something like that. This is the second one. It also stars, again, Margaret Qualley, I think her name is, from The Substance and Don't Worry Darling. Drive Away Dolls, not Don't Worry Darling, Drive Away Dolls. I'm not a fan of her outside of The Substance, and I'm dreading this, if I'm really honest. I think these movies, the last one of these, Drive Away Dolls, was absolutely bloody awful. And this is the second one of this trilogy that he's co-written with his wife, who is transgender, I think. I think that's the story. His wife is transgender, and they're very rooted in LGBT activism, things like that. That's why they're doing this trilogy. Something like that. I think it was. But when you saw Drive Away Dolls, you're like, okay, I feel like all the effort went into the intent with this one and not the execution. But yeah, Honey Don't is the second part. This one looks slightly more fun than all that. We've also got The Cut, which is a new boxing movie which stars Orlando Bloom, of all people. Or what was it Mark Kermode just call it? Orlando Bland, I think he used to call him. And last but certainly by no means least, this is apparently the final entry in the main Conjuring series. So it's The Conjuring Last Rites next week, which, whether or not it's the final movie, does chronicle the final case of Ed and Lorraine Warren, who were the paranormal investigators that they've seemingly based all of this true story series upon. Although if you believe any of this stuff is real, I mean, got some magic beans to sell, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, there we go. That's what we've got to look forward to on next week's show. That is all we've got time for this week. We've covered everything. We will be back next week. Until then, I've been Adam Ball. See you then.
I've been Van Connor. Keep it cinematic, and we shall return.